Okay, so we're not too late this time.
No,
I would say like 3 minutes. I think we're doing good.
Right, yeah.
I think we're getting better with our timing here.
Yeah.
So we just got
planned
done,
our dinner accordingly.
Yeah, we just got done eating some tacos, and I feel like every time I eat tacos, I'm just like so full.
Miserable. Yeah.
It's just like because the tacos are so good that you just want to keep eating them.
Right, and the chips and salsa.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think that's why when you go to Mexican restaurants too, excuse me as I'm burping, you always like end up, by the time you get your food, you're like, whoa, I shouldn't eat all those chips, because they give you the free chips and the salsa. This one place Tay and I go to, they do have a really good setup, because they bring you like this little kind of thing that holds like 4 different sauces, and they bring you like the green sauce, and then like
I like
a couple
that
different
cheese
sauces.
dip is my favorite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But it's good. And then their chips are really good too.
I don't know. It's just something about homemade tacos that like hits different.
Oh yeah.
So, hi Nova and hi Chris. Good to see you guys. All right, we already got people piling in.
Oh, nice.
So this is good. So yeah. I've just been like insanely busy this week. So I think I told you guys this on our last podcast, but I'm actually getting my condo ready to sell. And it's quite a process because, you have to like make your house like look presentable enough for a realtor to come in and like give you a price range. And then like you go from there. So I had to like deep clean like my whole house, which it was good because it needed it. My condo needed like a good deep clean. So, it was well worth it. My mom even came over and like helped me. So thanks, Mom. Appreciate it. But yeah, so my condo is probably the cleanest that it's been in a long time. I'm not even gonna lie. Like I even shampooed the carpets. Like I went all out. So we'll just have to see how that goes.
Oh yeah, definitely pay off. I tell you, the little things you do to help kind of just like spruce it up and all that make a difference.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. And I know that like realtors look at that type of stuff, does a house smell clean? Like, does it look clean? They look at that type of stuff. And I think, like a lot of people look at that type of stuff. Because I know before I bought my condo, sorry, I just like was about to burp and it just like didn't quite come out. Sorry guys. But yeah.
The tacos.
It was the tacos. It was the tacos talking. Because I know that whenever I was looking for my condo like 2 years ago, there was a couple of places that I had visited before I had bought the condo that I have now. And it was a big turnoff because I walked into some of these places and it just like smelled. And like you could tell that like the place had some heavy traffic, if you get what I'm saying.
Right.
Like the carpets had seen better days and stuff like that. So, like that type of stuff, people think about that and they look at that type of stuff. Whenever you're buying real estate, you have to think like, how much work am I going to have to put into this? Because if the carpet looks terrible, like you're going to want to put some new carpet in. And you got to think about how much that costs and all of that. So people definitely look at this type of stuff whenever they're thinking about buying a property. Okay, so let's see what the people are saying. Oh yeah, Nova lives in Ireland, actually. I wanted to tell you that.
Oh, cool.
She's on my other channel. That's how I know her. So she said that she is thinking of selling their house next year. Oh, well, good luck to you, because I know the housing market is kind of crazy right now. It's definitely like not a seller's market.
It's slowed down for sure, because I work for a real estate law firm, and I'm telling you, it's like from what I was doing a couple months ago to now, it's definitely kind of come to a little bit, and the rates are up and all that too. So, and if you look at home sale prices, I think we talked about this not too long ago in one of our podcasts, but price sales are starting to drop now. So that's why it's kind of good Tay-Tay's getting hers on the market now, because she could still probably do pretty good.
Yeah.
And come out, nice for what she paid for it to what she could sell it for now, because it's still up there. I mean, and it'll help us, like I said, both out.
And whenever I bought my condo, it was whenever the interest rates were like still decent. Because I know that they've hiked up like a good 5%. Like since then.
Excuse me, into the late 6s, early or 7s as far as the rates up there now. So
Yeah,
that's why I think the prices have dropped too, because the rates have gone up. So it kind of
I think so too.
a little bit.
But yeah, me and Cece are gonna be roommates, so
yeah,
it's gonna be some interesting, probably sub content coming your way.
I know, right?
So Dawn's here too. Hey, Dawn. She said that I should Airbnb. So that was the original plan, but it's just like I don't trust people. I don't trust that people are gonna like not damage my property.
Right. And then too, like even just consecutive being able to really because it's a 1-bedroom. So I don't, I mean it might still do well, but yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of
kind of like with Tay.
Yeah, because like a lot of people that rent like the Airbnbs, they have like families and they need more than just like 1 bedroom. So I don't know how mine would do, quite honestly. And like I had said, I'm just kind of scared that like somebody would rent it and like go in there and just be a hog, and then it's like, who's stuck having to fix it?
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I don't trust people like that. I mean, it's a good idea because it's a good moneymaker. And, we live in like a tourist town. So it's like
that more people, we got voted, I think, the fastest growing area that people are moving to. So people are definitely coming here in droves. It's crazy.
Yeah, so we'll just have to see what happens. I think it's going to be easier to sell, honestly, because there's people coming in from like different states right now, and they're looking to like buy real estate that they can like rent.
Yeah.
So I think that it's gonna, it's gonna be okay. I think I'm gonna be able to sell it in probably like 2 months is what I'm hoping, but we'll have to see what happens with that. So yeah, Nova said that she's never had a mortgage. Is it different over there in Ireland? Because I feel like it probably is with like how their, I guess, like housing world works. But yeah, and oh yeah, Dawn, that was another thing. Yeah, I didn't want the hassle of owning a rental property. I feel like it would be so stressful.
Yeah.
Chris said here in Seattle, you can rent a room for $1,000 a month. So that would be $1,000, right?
Yeah.
That's actually kind of similar to the prices we have here, right?
Well, I don't know. I looked before just to see on average, like a 1-bedroom here, and it's like 1,700 or something.
Is it really that high now?
Yeah, I mean it's up there. So,
because I know that whenever I was looking at being out on my own, I was looking at like 1-bedrooms, and they were like 1,500 for like a 1-bedroom. Yeah. So I guess they've went up since then. So that's crazy.
I know, unreal housing market. Jeez.
So our topic for tonight is hurricane safety and tips.
Yep, and some other like current little what's going on now for the 2023 hurricane season, because we're into that, and then some other like just top like what were the most damaging. I think I got the top 4 hurricanes that we've had so far. So.
And basically what I have is just some like different safety precautions that you can take while in the midst of a hurricane. And also I just kind of looked up like the most popular things that are bought during hurricane season. So, so that's going to be kind of interesting, I think, to go over all that. Hurricane season, usually lasts until about October.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I think it starts in the spring at some point. What is it, like March maybe?
We're actually only into like the 6th. We're just getting into it. Like it starts in like the August.
It does?
So,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So it starts in August. Usually it's over by like the end of October. I think so
Yeah.
anyway. Usually you start to not see a whole lot of it. I know right now we're just getting a whole crap load of rain right now.
We're getting a bunch of them out there that are generating. Well, there's a lot of tropical depressions out there, I should say, that haven't really produced or turned into hurricanes yet, but we do have a couple out there. So,
Right. Yeah, and I think where we live, it's like I don't know.
we're in the path over here on the
yeah, we're in the path,
East Coast, I guess.
So it's like we might get it and we might not.
Right.
We just kind of have to like wait and see. That's why we're always prepared. I feel like I'm always prepared for something. I always have batteries and a flashlight on hand. I remember my mom will appreciate that I'm telling this story. So during one of the years, I forget which hurricane it was, but I was still living at home with like my mom and stepdad. So we had gotten so bored literally because there was like nothing to do, because we were in the midst of like I guess it would be a depression where it was just like a lot of rain and stuff like that. So we were in the midst of that, and like a lot of places were closed and it was like cruddy out and stuff like that. So we got so bored. So apparently my grandma one year had bought us these hats that had like a flashlight installed.
Oh yeah, those are great.
So for some reason, I think we may have gotten into some alcoholic beverages.
Oh,
I'm just gonna say that we probably did. Knowing my family, we probably did. So we had gotten into some alcoholic beverages, and I went live, I think, on Facebook. I may have, and I was just like telling everybody like how to use this hat, and my mom is like cracking up hysterically in the background. We had too much fun with that dang hat that you could use, because like whenever you have tropical depressions, like you have power outages and stuff like that. So we thought that this was like a neat idea with the flashlight in the hat, especially like if you had to go to the bathroom or something.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But my mom just thought it was hysterical for some reason that I'm sitting there explaining how to use this hat and why you need it and stuff like that. And it was some
those are good to have. We usually have when we go to the beach. Some of the girls have those because they're cool to have to go out on the beach to, walk out at night on the beach and you can kind of see.
Right. Okay, so do you want to start with your hurricane?
Oh, just because this is kind of right now what's going on.
Yeah.
We're into the 2023 season.
Correct.
And so far we've had like 4 named storms that have formed during the first weeks of the season. And 2 tropical storms, Bert and Cindy, both developed east of the Caribbean.
So it's not Bert and Ernie, it's Bert and Cindy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. But then, so you know how every year, of course, they go through and have the names of them. So they produced the list that actually was the same one that was out for the 2017 hurricane season. So we've already been through Arlene, Bert, Cindy, Dawn, Emily.
Hurricane Dawn.
Yeah.
Hey, Dawn.
Dawn blew in and blew out. And none of those were of major, had any impact as far as doing a lot of damage or anything. But that's how far up through. And now we're on Franklin, who is the active one right now that we've got going on. I've got some info about that one. And then Gert and Harold has already been ones that I guess formed and then didn't really develop or, do anything basically. Adelaide is another active one that's out there right now. So then after that, so we've already got up to I. So that's how many we've already gone through up through this season. So then after that, these are the other names they picked for this year. Jose, which I think is kind of funny.
It is kind of funny.
Katia, Lee, Margot, Nigel. I like this one right here. This is my favorite, I think. Ophelia. I said only because I could see people going like, Oh yeah. Ophelia. Yeah. I feel you, but
Yeah.
Ophelia when it comes flowing in.
Or singing that like
Ophelia.
Ophelia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Philip, Rena, and they picked like the first letter of the alphabet to go through the name, how they're all laid out. So R, Sean, Tammy. Some of them are so common. You know what I mean? Like Dawn, Tammy.
Yeah.
Um, Vince, which I think is kind of funny because my aunt's dog, they have a dog named Vince, and Whitney. So those are the ones that are the names picked out for this season. So Franklin, that's the one that's kind of out there now that is doing, that's getting a little stronger and everything. It's starting to strengthen as it's kind of moving across the Atlantic, and it's expected to intensify and basically become the first like major hurricane of this season. They project it to be by like Monday a category 3. So I mean it's pretty up there. Southeast and mid Atlantic are going to experience like big swells and the rip currents basically up through Labor Day because it's gonna kind of be churning out there. It's currently like 565 miles southwest of Bermuda, and it's moving northwest at 8 miles per hour with maximum sustained winds of 100 miles an hour. So that's pretty, that's damaging.
Pretty intense.
That can do some damage, at those wind speeds. So
right.
They don't really expect though it to really make landfall on the U.S. The National Hurricane Center shows that it's going to basically strengthen and move between like the East Coast and Bermuda by the week. So, it's kind of on forecast to track. The cyclone is basically expected to shoot and land between like the gap between Bermuda and the U.S. So that's what's kind of going on with that one now. And like I said, the names of the ones we should be expecting for the rest of 2023, which we're not really long into it now, and we've already got up to I. So we're kind of midway there. So, and they do obviously with the warmer waters that is happening everywhere, and that's because all this climate change and all that's going on with that. Like that's what really gets these things up and moving is the warm water and everything, and then once those winds start and front starts coming in over it, and it just starts making things get a little hairy. So the fact that we're such a warmer planet and the waters are so much warmer, I mean, we've had some pretty doozies, as far as hurricanes. So
yeah. So I basically just looked up like some popular things that people buy during hurricane season. And I kind of looked up like food products and also just like regular stuff. So the number one thing that people buy that's the most popular during hurricane season is insurance.
Oh, I was thinking like batteries and flashlights.
So it's insurance actually.
Okay.
So the most important thing you can do if you are a homeowner is to ensure your family's long-term security after a storm is to make sure that you have adequate insurance. Regular homeowners insurance doesn't cover losses from flooding, which causes the majority of damage and deaths in hurricanes. So if you live in an area considered at risk for flooding, you will need to buy flood insurance to be fully covered. And then the website that I looked at gave you a link for FEMA's flood insurance and just like the different questions that people ask during that time. Or during, that time whenever they're buying that. So number 2 is hurricane shutters. In many areas, storm shutters are now required on new construction by local building code. But if your area doesn't require them or your home was built before the requirement, consider installing them. Shutters aren't cheap. No, ma'am. But they are a powerful safety measure to keep your home and family safe during a storm. And a bonus, you'll most likely get a discount on your homeowner's insurance.
Well, there you go.
In case anybody wanted to know about that. There are multiple kinds of hurricane shutters that range greatly in price. And then it just, gave you some information on where to find that. Number 3 is a generator.
Okay,
of course.
well, I was gonna say, I figured that would be at least up there. In
Because
the top 5
if your power goes out for any period of time, like a lot of people get a generator just so they can run like the basic things that they need to have ran.
Yeah, keep the refrigerator going.
Yeah,
so food
so
stays cold.
Exactly. So I don't really need to explain that. I feel like I think most people know what a generator is and why you need to buy one during a hurricane.
Right.
Flashlights and lamps. There you go.
Okay. Yep.
That makes sense. I shouldn't really need to explain that one either. A weather and AM FM radio. So let's see. It may seem redundant with all the technology at our disposal these days, but a good old-fashioned weather radio is still a good idea to ensure that you receive warnings for your area about dangerous weather conditions. Excuse me. Or you could just be like me, where my phone just like
gives you an alert.
Oh, yeah. And the alert is so loud that you could hear it from like miles away.
Right.
Too. So they can definitely alert you. So I don't really think I need a weather and AM FM radio at that point. So it just kind of tells you where you can get one. Batteries, which that's self-explanatory. You need the batteries to operate the flashlights and other different things that you might need during that time. Which they recommend that you buy in bulk packs on Amazon, which that makes sense.
My dad buys bulk batteries, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like Costco and like Sam's Club and like are those wholesale stores? Yeah. Is that what they're called? I feel like the big box and like wholesale stores sell them in bulk. So you can pretty much find them anywhere. Power packs, which I'm not entirely sure about this one. So let me read. Cell phones can be a lifeline in a storm, allowing you to continue to access weather and emergency info when the power and cable has gone out.
Oh, okay.
They also allow you to stay in touch with friends and family and to check in with those who are worried about your safety. But when power is out, there is no way to recharge a cell phone.
Right.
Got that right.
Makes sense.
Power packs. Oh, the portable battery units. Okay, I know what they're talking about now. So power packs, portable battery units that you can plug your device in to charge are your best friend in that situation. So, Anker power cores are the current state of the art in power pack technology. So there's a little example, which I don't even know what that looks like. So I would need to Google what an Anker power core is, but it might be a good thing to get though. So non-perishable food and water. So, we're talking about anything that's canned and anything that will last you like a long time.
Yeah. A couple days at least, maybe.
I know that a lot of people stock up on water during hurricane season.
Oh yeah.
Which that's actually a smart idea, because if your power goes out and stuff like that, and let's say it's like, you happen to run out of water for some reason, like you have some, like I think water is a good idea to have always on backup.
Well, and another thing you can do too, which is smart, is if you've got a tub, is fill your tub up with water.
Yeah.
Because then if something happens too, like with your plumbing or something like that, and you can't flush your toilet or something, you can always have that water to refill your toilet tank with. I mean, so it's always good to do that.
Yes, that's good. A first aid kit. I feel like that's self-explanatory.
Okay, yeah.
Blue tarps. Because besides water damage from storm surge, one of the other things that happens to homes during hurricanes is roof damage. We've all seen the dramatic news footage of roofs being entirely blown off of homes during a hurricane. But more likely than that devastating scenario is that your home will experience mild to moderate shingle damage, possibly causing leaks and water infiltration. Drive around any neighborhood that has been recently hit by a serious hurricane, and you will... Okay, hold on a second. Lost my train of thought here. Drive around any neighborhood that has been recently hit by a serious hurricane, and you'll see these blue tarps all over the place. So that's a smart idea too. So some different like bonus items would be like a battery operated fan. There you go.
Oh,
A
yeah.
battery operated fan.
I've had those little ones.
Yeah.
Those tiny face ones.
Yeah, I know that Cece has some of those. We were using them at the beach. A cooler and blue ice. So that's a good idea too.
Oh, yeah.
So just make sure that you have ice to fill it with. So that's a good idea. Caffeine. They have caffeine on here, which cracks me up.
Nice, yeah.
But yeah, so
Well, it's like,
that makes sense, I guess.
I don't know if I feel like if it was, you lose the power and all that, and it's dark, and then you have the good chance of catching up on some Z's, I'd want to be sleeping.
I know, me too.
You know?
I'd be cuddled up with my blankets going to sleep.
Yeah.
Hey, Donna K. Yeah, I'd be snuggled up sleeping. Forget about all that mess. Black contractor bags. So cleanup after hurricanes can be messy, even if
I was like, for what? Okay,
even if you don't have a lot of damage. Whether
Right.
you are emptying out a fridge full of spoiled food, I would hope that you're not going to have to do that.
Right.
Or picking up debris in the yard, black contractor bags are your friend. Stock up before the storm and you'll be ready to get to work right away when the storm passes. So I have that. And then I also just looked up some like different like some of the different popular food items that are bought during a hurricane. So non-perishable foods, that's at the top of the list. Well, actually, I think that is what the list consists of, is non-perishables. Bottled water, which we had talked about that. Canned foods such as tuna, salmon, vegetables, or fruits is popular. Instant soup mix, that's popular. Which I don't know about that, because how you gonna heat it up?
Right, yeah.
If you don't have power. I guess
you
you
could
could
have the water in the mix it, but you wouldn't be able to really kind of.
and you can't really like make a fire in your house.
No.
So I don't know how well that's gonna work out for you.
We don't know about that.
Peanut butter. Okay,
Makes
that's a good one.
Yeah.
Cereal.
Yeah.
So
dry cereal, that's how you
eat. So it says emergency food. So not all items have to be non-perishable to be eaten in a storm. Here are some to buy. So apples, canned marinara sauce, boxed potatoes, which I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Because you have to like heat up some of this stuff. So how does that work? Crackers, which I could see that, and soy or almond milk. Which, if you buy the kind that you have to refrigerate, you're kind of screwed if like you lose power.
Yeah.
But I guess you could buy like the powdered milk, which has a pretty good shelf life. So I guess like,
oh, I could see that. Yeah.
So
I guess buy that because you would have the water.
Right. So I guess like that makes sense. I know whenever we prep for a hurricane, we just go get beer.
Right. I know, right? Yep.
Like, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, you gotta have the alcohol.
That's how we prepare around here. We just go get our beer and then, say the hell with it.
That's right.
usually that's how we roll around here.
Gotta have the stocked up on the alcohol.
So I gave you some different, ideas of the popular items that are bought during a hurricane. So now I'm just going to give you some tips on like hurricane safety and like what you should do, if you are in the middle of a hurricane and different things like that. So you should have a plan to evacuate. So if you are advised to evacuate, do so immediately and go to a safe place. So know where you will go, how you will get there, and where you will stay. You may have to plan well in advance. And unfortunately, those people that live in mobile, manufactured, and trailer homes and RVs, you're not going to be able to find safe shelter during a storm. So you're going to want to make a plan and have a plan to evacuate to somewhere where you're going to be safe.
Yeah, definitely get out of those.
So plan to shelter safely. So be ready to live without power, water, gas, phone, and internet for a long time. Practice going to a designated safe shelter for high winds. The next best protection is small interior windowless room in a sturdy building on the lowest level that is not likely to flood. If you excuse me. If you are in an area that's likely to flood, designate a location on higher ground that you can move to before floodwaters reach you. Which that was the good part about my condo. It was on the 3rd floor.
Right.
So
yeah.
I didn't really have to worry about none of that. Like I just had to see the wind and the rain, which was kind of weird, which was kind of freaky seeing the trees move and stuff like that. So I just wouldn't look out the window. I'd be like, hell no. I'm gonna go in my bedroom. Like I ain't looking out this window. So gather emergency supplies, obviously.
Yeah.
So gather food, water, and medicine, and gather 3 days of supplies that you can carry with you, which would include backup batteries and chargers for your devices. So, also a stay-at-home kit, which will be 2 weeks of supplies, which stores and pharmacies, might be out during this time. So, and you might not be able to get to them. So, you're going to want to have
the plan.
Be prepared and have those 2 weeks of supplies. Have 1 month supply of medicine in a child-proof container, which makes sense. And keep personal, financial, and medical records safe because you don't want nobody stealing your identity during a hurricane.
Right.
Plan to stay connected. Sign up for free emergency alerts from your local government. Have a way to charge your cell phone. So you're going to want to get one of those power packs and have a battery-powered radio, which do they even make those anymore?
I think so.
I haven't seen a battery-powered radio in a long time.
I think so.
So learn emergency skills. So learn first aid and CPR, which that's very important. Be ready to live without power. Learn how to use a generator safely and plan how you will use the powered equipment. So that's that.
Makes sense, yeah.
And then I also just kind of got into how you can protect your home before a hurricane.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's important too.
Yeah.
So prepare for wind. So you're going to want to secure the items outside, your lawn furniture, your trash cans, all that. Different items that if they got picked up by wind, they could hurt somebody.
Yeah.
Anchor objects that would be unsafe to bring inside, such as gas grills and propane tanks.
Yeah, I wouldn't want those flying through there.
No. Trim or remove trees close around your home. So that makes sense too. And then protect windows with permanent storm shutters or pre-cut plywood, which I've seen.
Yeah, at the beach, they board those bad boys up if they don't have the hurricane shutters.
Yeah, and I've seen more of the pre-cut plywood, I feel like, than the permanent storm shutters. In all honesty.
Right, yeah.
So prepare for flooding. Clean out drains, gutters, and downspouts. Stockpile protective materials such as plastic sheeting and sandbags. Sandbags are very popular down here this time of year.
I still have some in front of my house where I flooded July 4th last year. Yep.
I work at a hardware store. I cannot talk. I work at a hardware store full time, and we sell a lot of sandbags during this time.
Oh yeah.
It's probably one of our very much so most bought items. Consider installing a sump pump with battery backup and consider elevating the heating system, water heater, and electric panel. So evacuating. If local authorities advise you to evacuate, go right away.
Yeah.
Do not stop, go, and collect. Do not stop and collect $200. Just go. Bring your go kit. Follow evacuation routes and do not try to take shortcuts because they may be blocked. Check with local officials for shelter locations, which you can use the Red Cross app, and they'll tell you where those are at.
Yeah.
That's actually where I got a lot of this information, is the American Red Cross. So it's legitimate stuff. So staying at home, determine your best protection from winds and flooding. Take shelter in a designated room
designated area.
Yeah, designated area or room for high winds. Stay away from glass windows and doors, obviously, because you don't want to get hit with that. So, safety basics. Wait for officials to say it is safe before going back home. Avoid damaged or fallen power lines, poles, and downed wires. They can electrocute you.
Exactly.
Which, I mean, it's kind of weird that you have to bring these points up, but you
Yeah.
know, that's just how the world is nowadays. Do not touch floodwaters because they may contain sewage, bacteria, and chemicals that might make you ill. Obviously.
Right.
Prevent carbon monoxide poisoning. Gasoline, propane, natural gas, or charcoal burning devices should never be used inside a home, which, you know, that's why I said you can't do a fire inside a home.
Right. Yeah.
To get that, you know. So, carbon monoxide cannot be smelled, but it'll kill you fast. So, if you feel sick, dizzy, or weak, get to fresh air right away. Which I don't know how you're supposed to get to fresh air right away.
If you're trapped in the garage.
I don't know. So, we'll figure that out. I guess you got to figure that out for yourself. But yeah, how to clean up safely. So, wear appropriate protective equipment, including gloves, goggles, and boots. Clean and disinfect everything that got wet. Lysol and Clorox wipes will be your best friend.
Right.
When cleaning heavy debris, work with a partner. Make sure that you have proper training before using equipment such as chainsaws. And heart attacks are a leading cause of death after a hurricane. Be mindful of overworking. So, some tips to stay healthy. When in doubt, throw it out.
There you go.
Throw out the food that got wet or warm. Ask your healthcare provider for guidance if you have refrigerated medicines that got warm. Avoid drinking tap water until local officials say it's safe, which I don't even drink tap water as it is. I just run it through a Brita filter.
Right, yeah.
So take care of yourself. It's normal to have a lot of feelings. Eat healthy food and get enough sleep to help you deal with the stress. So there you go.
I just went through a hurricane. Holy crap.
I know, right? I mean, I felt like a lot of that was pretty self-explanatory, but you know, I do like to provide research and information whenever we do this type of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's about all that I have. Do you have anything else?
Okay, so I have just like basically these are like the top 4 most destructive hurricanes that we've had so far. So, which, you know, I did kind of experience one because when I think Hugo came in when I was still in high school, I believe. And I was living in Columbia. So we got like a lot of really high winds. Our power got knocked out. And I remember my mom had this thing. It was actually like a very small little black and white TV. But then it had a radio on it too, you know, and it was battery operated. So she was able to still have the local news on. And my mom and my dad and I sat in the living room and kind of were out there all together when the thing was coming through, basically, you know.
Right.
My brother was actually in his bed asleep, but we didn't really we had limbs and stuff like that down, nothing major like within our neighborhood or anything like that. But
Right.
but yeah, it did a lot of damage. But so the top 5 though, which like I said, that one wasn't on there, but number 1 was Hurricane Katrina, which I mean everybody kind of remembers that one. That was in 2005. And when it hit, it was like a category 5. So it was up there, you know, and it did like over $125 billion worth of damage. And it made landfall near a little town, Bertha Trumpet, Louisiana, with winds sustained at like 125 miles per hour. And it was when it hit land, it kind of dropped to like a category 3 upon landfall. But it was basically known as the most notorious storm of the 21st century. So it was up there. And then Hurricane Andrew, which hit in like 1992, it was a category 5 as well when it hit. and it struck near Dade County, Florida, with max sustained winds at 165 miles per hour, and it killed like 23 people, caused about $26.5 billion worth of damage, and it mainly impacted like Florida and the central Gulf Coast. And then Sandy was after that, which was a category 3. That one was in 2012. And that hit up in like New Jersey and New York, is what took him, basically bore the brunt of that storm. And it covered over like 1.8 million square miles and killed 80 people, damaging over like 18,000 homes. So I mean, these storms did some damage.
They did.
And then the one after that was Harvey, which hit in Houston. That was like Texas, Louisiana. So again, that area already had major, had one happen to them before. And they ended up having like major flooding for like 4 days after that storm. And it did $148 billion worth of damage and killed 82 people. And it was category 4 when it hit. And maximum sustained winds were like 134 miles per hour. And that was in like 2017. So yeah, so those were like the top 5 or 4 basically of the ones that kind of did the most significant damage. And like I said, we're already just early into the season now and already got those already up to, midway the alphabet already. So, and it sucks because I go on vacation in 2 weeks and we go to Edisto. So, and we're right on the beach. So it's like every year, and people always say, oh, you're going to go on vacation when it's hurricane season. But it's something we've always done. And we've been real lucky because there was only really one time that we kind of were not able to go because it did get hit with one and it damaged a good bit of stuff there and the island and stuff. And so we were not able to go that year. But yeah, so fingers crossed. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that none of them
I know, I am too.
Infringe on my vacation.
Yeah, I know, because that's like a yearly thing for you. So,
yeah,
like,
same time every year.
Yeah, it's like a big to-do also for her, so she doesn't want to miss it.
See my girls.
That's right.
So, but yeah, that was about all I had. I think we covered a good bit of info.
Yeah, I haven't really been around long enough to see a destructive hurricane.
Yeah.
So, knock on wood.
Well, and I tell you what's crazy though, and this isn't a hurricane, but those fires they had, in Hawaii that destroyed that whole town. And I actually, of all things, had a cousin of mine that was going down there for a wedding, and they actually experienced because that's where these people were. It was one of her best friends were getting married, and they ended up getting separated from everybody else. They were stuck on the side of the highway, that main one that leads in there, for like 8 hours. They all lost phone service and stuff because everybody was trying to call everybody.
Oh my gosh,
so they had no service or anything. Couldn't communicate with anybody. She recently had another baby not too long ago. I don't even think he's like quite 2.5 months old, and they had a daughter as well. So you can imagine I'm terrified. They left their kids, and then they're like going through this. And my cousin, who is her mom, whenever, because she happened to be there keeping the kids and staying in their house while they were gone,
right?
And she said when she got back and went to tell her about it, she was just real emotional about it, and
I can imagine.
I was like, oh my God, I couldn't,
yeah, I'd be emotional about it.
They took pictures and you could see the smoke not too far, literally almost from where they were stranded on this highway. So it was like, yeah, very terrifying for people. So
definitely, I definitely agree with that. I know people are going to be having their hurricane parties soon too.
Right. Oh, I did say this was kind of funny because it so relates, but I saw on the news the other day where Publix apparently has now said that they were not going to make specific themed hurricane cakes because apparently they've made them before.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, and they had a couple different ones with like these hurricane themes, but apparently they've said that no, because that is a very stressful thing, and they don't think that they should be like trying to shed light on a bad thing and all
Yeah,
that.
I
So
don't
yeah, they're
think
not
so.
going to make the hurricane thing. So if you want your hurricane thing cake, you can't get them from Publix.
Yeah, you're gonna have to, I guess, bake your own
Bake
ahead
your
of time.
own, or see if somebody else will make it. Because
Or get-
Publix is not.
or get one at Walmart and just decorate it.
There you go. Make your own. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you could really kind of put some cool stuff on there if you think about it.
Yeah.
Just get some little doll furniture or something like that from the toy department, and you could just sporadically like chunk it all on there like it's been, spun around by the wind. Get you a car and turn it upside down. Yeah, you could do your own pretty well, I think.
I know.
Right.
I think you could too.
Yep.
But yeah. Hurricane parties will be in session soon.
That's right.
I know that I thought this was weird. So you know how people always have these like theme parties whenever like this type of stuff happens? People were having like Corona parties like during COVID, and I'm like, that's probably about the stupidest thing that you could do.
For sure.
Yeah, people were over there.
Unless you're doing it virtual and you're all like having your own drink.
I don't know. People
food.
was surrounded by other people having parties. I'm like,
I don't know about that.
I said, not while these numbers are up like this.
Right? Yeah, that's kind of dumb.
Although COVID has come back.
Yeah, COVID's back here. I know a lady right now in my Pilates class that has it.
Yeah, actually, my realtor, her and her family just got over it.
See?
Yeah, and I know that it was going around at work. Like, I'm surprised that I didn't get it. I just kind of had like a sinus infection type thing for a couple of days, and then it seemed to mellow out. But
I got some test kits if you need them, girl. My dad hooked me up.
I have a whole bunch of those at home. Yeah. I mean,
take some kits. Okay, Dad.
Yeah, I have a whole bunch of those at home because my insurance decided to just give me a whole bunch.
Yeah, that's good.
For free. So I was like, okay. So, but I don't know, like I did that one. I know that there was one time where I took like 5 of them in a week because I had been exposed. So I'm like, okay,
yeah,
time to take one.
Yeah, I bet that is true. If you get around somebody that has it, then you're more inclined to be like, okay, I'm gonna check my shit every day.
Which I didn't end up having it, so that was good. But yeah, I was just like swabbing my nose like every couple days. But yeah, swabbing your nose is not fun. I don't know why. I don't know how other people can do it because I know that I can't do it. Swabbing.
Well, they said that originally, like when they first were having the test or testing people for COVID, that it was a horrible one, because they had to shove that thing so far up your nose.
Yeah, and then I guess that they figured out like a better way to do it where they didn't have to shove it all the way up into your brain.
Right, yeah.
So that was good, but yeah, COVID is back, so be safe out there, everybody.
Yeah, pull your wipes back out and everything.
Yeah, I mean, from what I've heard, now I had just heard this, so I don't know how true it is, but I had heard on the internet that there's a possibility that we might all be wearing masks again soon.
Whoa.
So once again, don't quote me. I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
But that's kind of a scary thought if you think about it, quite honestly.
Right. Because that was awful. I'll never forget. I was like, is this how it's going to be forever? And sure enough, it did seem like it was that way for a long time. I mean, it was a couple of years.
I think it was like 2 years.
Yeah, that people were in it. And I worked at an office. We were a law firm, and we were like classified or considered to be essential workers. So we had to go in and work. We did real estate closings. So we had to be there. And so we were in the city too. So the city had an ordinance that you had to have masks. So luckily, because, you still would have people going there, I'm not wearing a mask. Well, we had them at the door, and we had a sign on the door that said, city ordinance, you must wear a mask in this building. So if they didn't have one, they had to put them on when they came in.
Yeah.
That was crazy shit. Oh, excuse me. Crazy stuff.
Listen, those were some crazy times.
They were crazy times.
Whenever, like, pretty much the whole world was shut down and we had to wear masks.
It was awful. You couldn't go anywhere. I'll never forget, too, I was like, when they first had that case of it, when it started popping up over in China, and you were just hearing about it on our news here. And I went to work, and I was saying, it's going to get here. It's going to get here. And they were like, my bosses were like, oh, no, it's not going to get here. And sure enough, within like 6 weeks, I think, after they first had their first case or whatever when it outbreak there so bad. Within like 6 weeks, I think we had a first case here that they identified. And I'm like, see, that shit's here. It's here. It's gonna be here. Sure
Yeah,
enough, it was.
And I think like nobody thought that it was gonna like blow up to be as big as it did.
Oh yeah. Do y'all remember like on the news, like for one, when it broke out so bad, that was all the heck they talked about. They just kept having it was like on the news all the time. But remember when they had the counter that they would have like up in the top of the screen, and it would show deaths so far when so many people started dying, and it would have like deaths, U.S. deaths, and then it would have like overall the whole like world death count, and it would every day would just be jumping up like at these insane numbers. I was like, I wish they would just take that off the TV. Like I don't even want to see that, but it was it's you just saw it. It stayed up there in the corner of the TV.
I had to take a mental health break from the news because I just felt like I was getting like stressed out and anxious. I'm like,
kind of like how when 9/11 happened and it was all that was on, and you just kept getting so sucked into it. You didn't want to, but it was like first all that was on was about that. You couldn't find anything else on. Wasn't like you had a lot of the streaming stuff and the ways and means that you had now back then. So when that stuff happened,
I did. I remember binge watching a lot of stuff back in those days.
Yeah, DVDs and stuff for sure. Yeah, but
yeah.
So anyway, sorry, we kind of got off.
I know that was kind of.
But all that talks about natural. Some of that's natural disaster related. So we kind of stay a little within our.
I know, right? That's what I think too. But yeah, I think that's about all that I have to say. I don't know about Cece. She might have more to say.
That's about it, I think. So, yeah.
So, thank you guys for joining us. We'll be back next week with another topic. We never know what it's going to be until,
Well, and that just felt appropriate in the sense of where we are to kind of talk about that. So, and I'll be going on vacation in a couple of weeks, like I said. So hopefully they'll stay away so I can.
I hope so too. So I know that my parents are going away that weekend, so I'm kind of hoping that it stays away also.
Oh yeah,
so they can travel. So
having to drive around and be in that stuff.
Oh, I agree. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We love hearing from y'all. There's definitely been some interesting things going on in the chats, and I like it. I like all the conversations that go on in the chat. So, come back and join us next week. It might be Sunday, it might be Wednesday. We're not sure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Usually it kind of just depends on all that we have going on because I kind of had a busy week with like deep cleaning my whole house. So I didn't really, I wasn't really able to do it. But, today was probably the first day in a while that I was able to like sit down and do something like this. So that was good.
And Tay knows I work with her schedule. It's all good whenever.
Yeah.
We'll
right.
Figure it out.
So look for some interesting content to come for sure.
I know, right? Oh yeah, definitely so.
All right. So we'll talk to y'all later. Have a good night.
Peace out.